Today, Precarious plays
Samurai Legend Musashi.
But
what?
I thought that they were done with that nonsense numbering. I thought
That just 3 was going to be the next one?
yeah, I thought 3 was gonna be the next Kingdom Hearts. They said. Oh my lord!
Yeah,
that
I
mouth is
know what they
far
said.
Too large.
It's so the way it has worked so far, it's very frustrating for a number of reasons. They make weird, sort of interesting, experimental deviations from the main series on handhelds. The main developer insists that they're just as important as the full numbered entries on PlayStation, on the various PlayStations. And then they almost inevitably wind up having to remaster them, remake them for those consoles anyway. So I'm fairly certain that 2.8, I believe it is primarily, like, I think there are a couple of other goodies that they've pulled in there, but 2.8 is a PlayStation 4 remake of the 3DS title Dream Drop Distance.
Oh.
Which I played and beat, and it was my least favorite entry of the series. There,
Ooh, that was cold.
Let's just say that and then move on.
You gonna insult its mother too? It was cold, man.
Look,
there are many entries to that series.
There are some things that I could say about Dream Drop Distance, and I hope that very little of Dream Drop Distance works its way back into Kingdom Hearts 3. How about that? And now let's move the fuck on.
You are just the coolest, oldest.
And it's a shame because, I mean, okay, since you keep pushing me instead of letting me move on with your cold, calling me out on my coldness, I have been hoping that they'd start including like a wider variety of Square Enix characters for a long time. So I was pretty stoked whenever one of like the opening levels featured characters from The World Ends With You.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then, you know, the game just wasn't... the moving around in it was messy and a bad fit for a handheld entry because there was all of this dynamic, high-speed, environmental maneuvering on this tiny little handheld, and that's just not a good fit. I might one day look forward to playing a console remake of it because of that, you know? So that way I can actually have a full screen to see all of this crazy high-speed stuff.
What are you supposed to do with that?
Fire, maybe?
I don't know.
What are you? It looks like a little candle, so...
Yeah. Try fire. Oh,
aha!
you did it!
Okay, cool.
Oh, and the bug comes to see the light.
Hey, friend.
Oh, that's adorable.
So enough about Dream Drop Distance and Kingdom Hearts right now. The last, like, Square Enix title that I've played, a new Square Enix title I've played, was Final Fantasy 13-3.
Yeah.
And I actually liked it pretty well. It's another one of those games, though, that I think I like it, but I don't think it's a good game. And not only does it have some technical flaws and some design flaws, I also think that it is a game for villainous baddies, me included.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly. It just they took one of like 2 like most main characters. Okay, hold on. They took I think like one of 2 female protagonists that are like the lead protagonist of a Final Fantasy. They took 2 of those and then made a game about her dressing up to gain power.
Oh.
And it's... Okay.
I never know how to feel about that.
Well, let me start from this point and then work my way back to Final Fantasy 13-3. In Final Fantasy, most of my favorite Final Fantasies, clothes are power.
Yeah.
In Final Fantasy Tactics, in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, and in Final Fantasy IX, just as examples, clothing, that's where you draw strength from. Whenever you change jobs in Final Fantasy Tactics or Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, your outfit changes to match. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe just donning that clothing gives you the strength of that profession. In Final Fantasy IX, it's much clearer, the relationship between people and objects of power. All of your important abilities that you learn, you inherit them from equipment by, like, bonding with it, basically.
Yeah, isn't there a similar system in Tales of Vesperia? Where, like, there are certain weapons that you can learn skills from?
Right, it's actually very similar to that.
But it's clothes instead of weapons.
Well, it's clothing, too, in Final Fantasy IX, I think. And... Also, it's speaking of The World Ends With You, badges in that game, like little pins, you know, like little collectible pins.
Yeah.
They give you your power. So it's not uncommon, right?
Right.
The thing that bothers me is that it's very unevenly handled. It's not applied as fairly as it could be. I'm out of healing energy, by the way, so I'm in trouble.
Oh. Don't be in trouble.
Yeah, those all just restore MP. I thought that I had enough. Maybe I can do it this way. So, the thing that bothers me is that it's very unevenly handled. And it doesn't have to be, like, a big deal, because there's nothing that says that you have to use Lightning's most promiscuous outfits, because sometimes they're not even, like, I don't think that they're always that powerful, right?
Right.
It's not like there's some correlation between the
less
nakedness
cloth
of
versus,
yeah, like less clothing equals more power.
like Bayonetta.
Right, although that's what the whole game is about,
Yeah,
and
so
she kind of owns it, but it's really out of character for Lightning, and probably most importantly, they kind of screwed up with it a little bit, because in Lightning Returns, they sort of define the roles, like Commando and Medic and Ravager. They're defined by the clothing that you're wearing, but unfortunately, Final Fantasy XIII had a similar system that didn't rely on changing clothes, right?
Oh,
Which
so
is the main reason why it bothers me, because
the previous game did something like that without having it be about
the clothing at all.
Yeah.
I would actually say, and I know that this would be fucking impossible for an entire cast of 6 characters or however many there were, but I think that I would much rather have had Final Fantasy XIII be all about the outfits, and everybody gets an outfit change, but that would be an enormous amount of work, you know?
Yeah, especially with as beautiful as those games are getting at this point. Like, I mean, beautiful.
Even if you were to share a lot of the same bits of outfits and textures and parts of models. And I'm gonna go back to town because I messed up.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna bite it, we're gonna...
I'm gonna try to make my way back. Oh! Hopefully it'll let me just go back to town from here. Can I go back to town?
Town.
Oh, I don't wanna do that.
Oh.
Hopefully it will at least start me with full health.
Please. Or you're just gonna have to go chug a bunch of burnt biscuits.
Oh, actually,
okay.
this is...
That's not...
This one time, this is exactly what I wanted. Normally, I would be furious
Yeah.
if it started me here. Okay, so I'm gonna clear my thoughts a little bit. I'm gonna go back to the Anthium, get a bunch of stuff, and then we'll pick up at that point, the point where we just were, before the running and the jumping and the fleeing and the screaming and the tears and
having
the blood.
monsters fall down on top of your head.
Yes.
They fell on your head.
So back there with healing items tomorrow, and more thoughts about sex appeal and Final Fantasy and
Girly things.
and where Samurai Legend Musashi fits into that. I know where it fits in. It's into those exposed midriffs. Ooh.